Let's talk about the Ishbibenob legacy. Right at the end of 2 Samuel 21 is a brilliant story found in the end of the reign of King David that encompasses legacy, it encompasses empowerment, and it encompasses leadership. David goes out to fight as he always does. He's fighting a familiar enemy, as he always seems to be, and it's the Philistines. Right at the end of the day, David is fighting all day. A young giant comes out. His name is Ishbibenob. His name means I will return. He has a brand new spear, brand new armor, and he vows to kill King David. David is a warrior, so David does what warriors do. He goes out to fight him. But David is tired. He's tired and he can't fight. So David's nephew, Abishai, goes out on behalf of the king and defeats the giant. Now, when the battle is over, Abishai with the other young officers in David's company come to the king and say to the king, King, listen, we don't want you to go out to the field of battle with us anymore. Why? Because we do not want your light to be extinguished in the kingdom. So king, allow us to go out and do these battles. Allow us to go out and do the business. The chapter ends with 5 other soldiers in this whole company going out and killing giants of their own. Legacy, empowerment, leadership. Let's start with legacy. Abishai, David's nephew Abishai. Well, he wasn't born when his uncle killed Goliath. He just grew up in his family hearing the legend of his uncle. He grew up around his uncle as a king, as a general, as a warrior. So when the time came for him to actually face his own giant on the field of battle, it was natural for him to actually know, I can actually do this. I literally have giant killing in my DNA. And his uncle supported that by allowing him to do so, because he knew that given the opportunity, this boy will kill this giant. Legacy isn't only going to be the good things that people hear about us. Legacy isn't only going to be the good things and great things that people say about us. Legacy is also going to be our doings that they do. Jesus said to his disciples, the things I have done, you will do also. The things I have done, you will do greater. Then there is empowerment. It wasn't David's ability to fight that was in question. It was his capacity. The king was just tired. He wasn't a coward like Saul was when Saul faced Goliath. And it takes so much humility to know when to allow somebody else to do something. It takes so much humility to empower somebody else to do something that would normally come natural to you. David knew, given the chance, this boy would do something great. And empowering others means giving them the power to do something that you've trained them and mentored them to do. Empowering others is about making people understand that what I am allowing you to do, I know you can do. And it's important for us to remember as leaders that the best is always just behind us. The best is always just behind us. In leadership, in life, the best leaders, the best men, the best women, they are always just behind us. That doesn't devalue those who are here. But we should always expect, I'm good, but I know the person's coming behind me is going to be great. Yeah, I'm great, but I know the person that's coming behind me is going to be greater. I must decrease and let them increase. But while I am here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to value the place I am by uplifting it, by extending it, by opening greater capacity in it, and preparing it for the person that comes behind me. And then there is leadership. King David not only agreed to allow Abishai to fight, but he agreed with the council of his young warriors that while he would go out to the war, he would no longer take place in the battles. He would no longer take place in the battles. He would preserve his place and their need of seeing him there by allowing them to fight the battles while he was with them in the war. And here above all else, here above all other places in this story, is the greatness of King David, because he could have exercised his powers as the king to dismiss Abishai, tell him you're too young, you're not ready. But he had mentored him, he had trained him, and he had trained him to assume that responsibility. Assume that responsibility. There ain't no point in us as a generation of leaders to train a generation behind us and not step aside and give them the space and the time and the opportunity to lead. So, if this story is going to do anything, let it do three things for us. Number one, let it empower the way you think and the way you approach leadership, especially with those who are around you. Number two, let it be that you concern yourself with creating a legacy of the Jesus doings that inspire another generation. Number three, empower a generation to believe that not only will they do as much as you have done, but you are expecting them to exceed everything that you have done. I said three, but let's go to four. And when you've done all that, hey, know when it's time to just step aside. Know when it's time to just step aside and let a generation lead. And feel blessed that they lead. And feel encouraged that they lead. And don't feel devalued that they lead. Let them come to you for that advice and come to you for that counsel if they need to. And you be humble enough to give them the counsel, but say to them, hey, that's your giant, man. Go fight that giant. You can kill that giant. You go figure out how you kill that giant. I pray that in all things and above all things, that we raise a generation of giant killers. That we not only raise them, we not only empower them, but we release them and step back and watch with pride as they lead further, as they lead longer, as they lead stronger in this generation and in all the generations to come. That is the Ishbibenob legacy.